Remember that time your team launched a new product and sales went up in a specific region? Or when a simple survey revealed an untapped customer need? Those weren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They were stories that led to valuable insights when organized and analyzed. The problem? You may not always have the time to track those stories down. Generative AI tools can help you manage, analyze, visualize, and present data. In this module, you'll first learn how to prompt Gen AI tools to uncover insights from data. Then, you'll bring that data to life with visualizations. And finally, you'll explore how to put it all together into a compelling presentation that helps you show and tell your story.
Data can teach you a lot, but you need to know how to interpret it first. Let's use the prompting framework. Thoughtfully create really excellent inputs to unlock insights and patterns from data using a Gen AI tool. Before we get started, remember that not all Gen AI tools work with data. Be sure to check what your tool can do before using it. We'll teach you how to do this by prompting Gemini models in Google AI Studio. One other note. As you work with these tools, remember some of the ground rules about using Gen AI responsibly. Always review your organization's policies before including sensitive or confidential data in your prompt. For this example, we're using publicly available data found on Kaggle. Are you ready to try? Let's do it. Here we have a data set with information about a grocery chain. AI Studio can help us analyze all that data to find trends and patterns that could help inform how the company operates. But there are a lot of variables here, so it'll be helpful to organize the data to make it easier to work with. First, we'll ask for step-by-step help. We can upload the data directly from our Google Drive where the Google Sheet is stored. If we were using Microsoft Excel, we'd upload it from our computer. Once we've uploaded the spreadsheet, we're ready to write the prompt. Attached is a Google Sheet of stored data. Now that we've shared some context, we'll add the specific task. How can I create a new column in Sheets that calculates the average sales per customer for each store? Let's review the output. The model provided some helpful suggestions for calculating the average sales per customer for each store. It even explained how to use a more descriptive formula to label our new column in the spreadsheet. And that's just one example. If that method of organization doesn't work, we can iterate on our prompt to get an output that's closer to what we need. Let's take this further. Discovering trends in a dataset can help us make informed decisions. And we can prompt a Gen AI tool to help find those trends. Can you think of a spreadsheet that you've been meaning to analyze? Keep that in mind as we go through this example. Start again with the task. Give me insights into the relationship between daily customer count, items available, and sales based on the given data. That prompt got us a lot of interesting information, and fast. And this is fascinating. There seems to be no clear correlation between the number of items in a given store and its total sales volume. Some small stores are even outpacing the big ones. The output even gives us some potential reasons behind this trend so we can investigate further and think about potential sales strategies. This is great. Now back to that spreadsheet we've been meaning to analyze. How can Gen AI help us save time and extract meaningful insights? With the help of Gen AI tools, we no longer have to spend hours crunching data. We can do it with just a few prompts. I'm a spreadsheet nerd, but I also know that not everyone shares my passion for cells and formulas. Dense spreadsheets and complex formulas can be intimidating. But fear not, generative AI can help you understand and write spreadsheet formulas. Just prompt it using natural language. You already know how to prompt a Gen AI tool to help you create and understand text, images, and data points, but it can also help you better understand spreadsheet formulas. Let's put the framework into action. Imagine your coworker at a restaurant went on vacation and gave you a spreadsheet full of data and formulas. Some of them seem familiar, but there are others that are a little more complicated. You need to order inventory today, but you don't want to bother your colleague, so you turn to Gemini for some guidance. We'll start off with the persona and some background. I work at a large restaurant and I need to order inventory while my coworker is on leave. Then add in some context. They left me with a formula to calculate how much food to order, but I don't understand it. Here's where we'll paste in the formula. And let's give Gemini the task and desired format. Explain what the formula means in simple, step-by-step terms. That's much easier to understand. You now hopefully have a clearer sense of what the formula is trying to accomplish so that you can get that stock order handled quickly. Now that you understand the formulas, you can figure out what to do if you get stuck. Let's try another one. Have you ever received an error message in your spreadsheet and not known what to do? Let's prompt Gemini to learn how you can figure out where those errors are coming from. The Google Sheet I have uses this formula to calculate orders. I'll paste in the formula. However, I received an error message in one of the cells. Time to specify the task and what format we want. Give me a step-by-step process for finding the error and fixing it in Google Sheets. And there you have it. Clear instructions for resolving that pesky error message. And with those out of the way, you can get that inventory order moving. Does your job involve presenting information to different people? Maybe you need to pitch new potential clients or relay information to your colleagues or your organization's leadership. When it comes to presenting data, you want to show rather than tell. Thankfully, generative AI tools are really good at helping you determine the best ways to visualize data. You just need to know what to ask for. You can prompt a Gen AI tool to get advice on the best types of charts and graphs to illustrate your data. The prompting framework should still be your guide. Add your task, context, and references if needed. Evaluate the output and iterate. The clearer you are about the kind of chart you want and what the parameters are, the more useful your output will be. Consider this. You and I are co-owners of a bookstore. Here we have a list of best-selling books and how many copies have been sold around the world since they've been published. Before we choose to stock some of those titles, let's examine the data. Remember, not all Gen AI tools can analyze data. Be sure to check what your tool can do before using it. For this example, we'll use Google AI Studio. First, let's think through how to represent this data visually with a chart. If you don't know what type of chart to use, you can always prompt a Gen AI tool for suggestions. We'll prompt the model using plain language to describe the dataset in order to find out what kind of chart might work best. Describe the dataset here. This is our context. My dataset is a spreadsheet that uses the following columns: title, published, genre, first published, and approximate sales in millions. Now let's request the format to be a chart so we have some choices. Give me options for a chart that shows the correlation between genre and sales. Let's be even more specific so that we know what kind of correlation the chart will actually be displaying. Explain how genre and sales are correlated according to the information. Interesting. Now we have 3 great ideas for creating charts that will visualize the data clearly. Even better, we have detailed explanations about each chart, giving us the option to choose which visualization works best for our dataset. You're not always going to know what type of chart you want to use, which is where adding a reference to your prompt can be helpful. You can use charts that are similar to what you want, or charts you found helpful and include those as a reference in your prompt. Then ask for recommendations on how to create a similar chart using your data. We'll find a chart to reference and prompt the model to emulate it using data from our bookstore scenario. Start by uploading the sample chart and then prompt the model to get some information about what it's depicting. Remember, it's sometimes better to start simple and then gradually add complexity. Describe this chart. What kind of data relationships are highlighted in the chart? We're asking for a description of the chart before we prompt to recreate it, just so that we can take it step by step. Okay, we have some good intel about the chart. The model is telling us it's called a stacked bar chart, and that it represents the staffing breakdown across different departments in an organization. And it analyzed the data, telling us how the finance department has a high proportion of full-time staff, while the product department has a more even mix. Now, we'll enter a prompt about the data we already have and ask for recommendations on visualizing it in the same way as the chart we referenced. You guessed it, let's add some context. My data set is a spreadsheet that uses the following columns: title, published, genre, first published, and approximate sales in millions. I'm interested in showing the relationship between genre and sales and the task. Suggest modifications to make this chart work better with my specific data using Google Sheets. Amazing! Now we have instructions about how to create a new chart with our data. The output even explains how to modify a bar to illustrate the relationship between genre and sales more clearly. And remember, if your output doesn't match what you need, you can always tweak your prompt and iterate. Communication goes way beyond sharing information with someone. You need to tell a story. Stories are how you make information stick in people's minds. Generative AI tools can help. Organize your presentations into compelling stories, build talking points, and even create images to keep your audience engaged. We'll use Gemini to bring it all together. In this scenario, you work for a company that designs, makes, and sells headphones. You're preparing to pitch your team on some cool new features. There's a lot of information and insights to convey, so you'll need to distill what you learned into a clear presentation. First, let's prompt Gemini to help figure out how to structure the presentation and summarize the findings. Let's add in the persona. I'm a product designer at a headphones brand. Here's where we'll paste in the context. Now here's the task. How should I structure my presentation? And don't forget to specify the format. List each slide's topic with its key points and visuals. Yeah, nice. Gemini has suggested a structure for your presentation that includes key points and visuals for each slide, including a title slide, an intro that sets the stage, and details on the 3 features that the audience is interested in. Gemini even suggested a call to action at the end of the presentation. It's good advice. There are a few other things that you can do to make it more engaging, like adding visuals that complement the information on the slides. When using Gen AI for image generation, you want to use the prompting framework with a few additional things added in. You want your input prompt to be as vivid and detailed as possible to help the Gen AI tool determine the type of image you want to create. Now, this means specifying the size, color, and position of things in the image and the overall aesthetic we want. So first, we'll specify our task and format. Start with the task. Generate close-up images of a pair of sleek silver headphones, and add in some more context, on a desk in a college dorm room. They should have musical notes floating around the headphones to show that they're playing music. Yeah, so cool. Gemini created several images to choose from. You can even choose between photography, vector art, sketches, or watercolors for the style. You still want to evaluate the output just like you would when generating text. Check your images to make sure you're getting what you want and that there aren't any mistakes like a headphone cord that's not plugged in or anything else that seems off. And remember, part of being a responsible Gen AI user is disclosing when you've used these tools. So add a disclaimer whenever you're including an AI-generated image in your work. You've now created your presentation, but there's still one thing left to do: present your work. But you don't want to just read off your slides. You want to give your audience helpful context and commentary as you go through them. You could go through your whole deck and draft up some talking points yourself, but starting from scratch will take a lot of time. Instead, you can prompt a generative AI tool to give you a head start and generate speaker notes for you. For this example, we need a long context window. Remember, long context windows aren't available on every AI tool. Different tools have different capacities. For this example, we'll switch to Google AI Studio. Let's upload our slide with the prompt. First, we'll add the persona and context. I'm a product designer at a headphones brand. Here's where we'll paste in the context. Then we'll give some more direction on tone and specify the format. Provide multiple options of concise, personable, and engaging speaker notes I can use while presenting this slide. Okay, you got some great ideas. The suggested speaker notes have some personality and energy, which will help keep your audience engaged. But you can get more specific. You learn that your company's marketing director will attend the presentation. You can prompt the model to adjust the speaker notes for a more senior audience. Let's give it a try, although this time we'll use voice to prompt just to save time. Provide alternate speaker notes for this slide that are specifically directed toward my headphone company's marketing director. The director values precision, and their priorities for the organization are to stay on top of industry trends and foster a strong community of loyal customers. And just like that, you have new speaker notes that are more appropriate for a marketing director. Now, one last thing. You have the presentation and the speaker notes, but you want to fit in some practice before the big day. You can upload a recording of yourself to get specialized feedback. Let's start off by specifying the tone and what we want to accomplish. I'm giving a presentation to my manager, pitching new product features, and I want to sound authoritative and confident. Then we'll explain what you're going to do and the task. I'm going to read my presentation aloud. Afterward, give me feedback on whether I've accomplished this goal. This was really helpful. You got a list of things to remember to deliver a great presentation, but you also got specific examples of where you can work on pacing and tone. Since you're using a Gen AI tool with a long context window or large memory, you can save your prompt and come back to where you left off. You can continue practicing without starting all over again.